minister, and yesterday they met and discussed much more on it with his family members and other clergy from the Catholic Church. Read the full story on page 3. A nurse, a very, very sad story here of a nurse who has been accused of infecting child with HIV dies. And a nurse living with HIV who accidentally exposed a 2-year-old patient to her blood in 2013 while working in a private health facility has succumbed to kidney failure. If we remember that story in 2013, very, very sad story. And one Rosemary Namubiru breathed her last on Saturday after her kidneys failed her. And Bobby Wine attacks government over rights abuses. Yes, this was in Mbale where Bobby Wine, who is also Robert Chagulanyi, who is alias Bobby Wine, talked about right abuses by the government of Uganda. Now, the BBC investigates cult churches in Uganda. And in the BBC report, former aides in prominent local churches detailed how they participated in conjuring miracles to win the flock, turning some into victims of rogue pastors. And yeah, you need to read the full story on page 5 and find out more. But if you haven't also watched that story by the BBC, you need to, so that you find out if the church you're really going to is actually genuine, or they're just there for your money or your life. I don't know. But read the full story on page 5 of the Daily Monitor. Now, Olanya's children and Lumumba speak out, and this is, and I'll just quote what Justice Kasule Lumumba said, who is the General Minister of Duties in the Office of the Prime Minister. She said, I encourage you politicians that when you cross to another political party, please stand strong. And of course, this was during yesterday's morning, where a few dignitaries were at Olanya's house in Muyenga that talked about that a lot. Now, the minister, in another story here on page 4, still on the tribute of Olanya, the minister questions love for ex-speaker after death. And one of the things that was said by Henry Oriem Okello, who is the Minister of State for International Affairs, he says, let us be honest in our hearts. If people had expressed this kind of love when he was alive, there would be too much love. And I think this is what I was talking about with Brenda a while ago, that if you have someone you love, if you have someone you care about, tell them now when they're still alive. Because when they die, then what are we doing? They can't hear you, they can't know what you're saying. So it doesn't make sense to tell the people you love that you love them when they're dead. Tell them now when you still have the chance. Now, we continue in the story of the tribute still continues on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Monitor, though 2 have been arrested over fire at Agriculture Ministry of stores that is in Wandega in Kampala yesterday, where the Agriculture Ministry stores gutted fire, and apparently it was caused by someone who was burning rubbish right next to it. And there were 2 junior workers who have been arrested following a fire at the stores of Ministry of Agriculture in Wandega, Kampala City, that left property worth billions of shillings and valuable records destroyed. Read the full story on page 7. There have been recent fires in the city, within the schools around the city that have been happening. And if we remember that there was one person who was injured a while ago on 7th Street at the Vivo Energy offices, where fuel depot that gutted fire, but the fire was quickly put out. Thank God for that. But read the full story on page 7. And when we continue in the Daily Monitor, experts have asked government to waive taxes amid rising prices. And of course, experts say that the move will promote local production of products whose prices have increased drastically. Well, I don't know how that will help us, but read the full story on page 8. And HR managers tipped on work and businesses. This was during one of their link-ups here in Kampala. And why Rukunjiri Chisoro registered high COVID vaccination uptake. Remember, people, we are still vaccinating, so please, if you haven't yet gotten your jab, feel free to go on and get it. There was a story in the New Vision that people are getting millions for being vaccinated, and they forgot that that day it was 1st of April, where they also call it Fool's Day. But anyway, strong economy is key for security. The president reassured the country the other day, and the president cautions against the issue of promoting identity based on religion, tribe, and gender. And this was during his address to some ambassadors on Friday that met him at State House in Entebbe. But yes, read the full story on page 10 of the Daily Monitor. And patients are stranded as city clerks closes health center. The construction work was expected to commence on March 14th, and this is according to Princess Diana Health Center 4 in Soroti City, that are stuck after the facility was closed to pave way for renovation works, which are yet to commence. March 7th later details that. Now, when we continue in the Daily Monitor, there is RDC appointments that divide local leaders. Remember, recently there's been a reshuffle in the RDCs, and according to the Daily Monitor, it has caused some bit of divide among the local leaders. But read the full story on page 12 of the Daily Monitor. There is much more you should expect in the Daily Monitor today. A few letters, a few opinions from Emily Maracho, Natalie Brown, who is the ambassador of the US here, and of course Patrick Katagala, who on matters to do with the East African community. And something else you need to expect is healthy living, what you need to know about autism, and later on I'll be discussing a little bit more about autism. On Saturday, we celebrated World Autism Day, where we celebrate the lives of the people who, but also breaking the bias concerning people who are living with autism. And read the full story if you need to know more about autism. Grab a copy of the Daily Monitor and find out more on that. It continues to panorama where questions swirl around government COVID vaccine purchases, and there have been questions concerning why we release money to buy purchases, but as far ago as I can remember, we have been getting aid from different countries giving us vaccines. So where is this? For me, I would ask, where did the money that was assigned to buy the vaccines go exactly? But read the full story on page 26 and 27. The film industry needs support, Mariam Nagire says, one of the actors, but also she's a musician. Here there is an article about education, what's with overwhelming people numbers in schools. Find out why there are many people, pupils in Uganda. In the foreign news, Ukraine accuses Russia of war crimes as mass graves are found. And Ukrainian officials say 280 other bodies had been buried in mass graves in Bucha by the Russian forces. And there's been there's a picture here of smoke rising after an attack by the Russian army in Odessa yesterday, and explosions rocked the Black Sea port of Odessa, which has largely been spared in the conflict, with airstrikes apparently targeting key infrastructure. Well, you need to take some time off and continue to pray for the people in Ukraine and Russia so that they end their turmoil. And in business news, loan impairments eat into DFCU's profitability, and 13 billion is the amount of money that DFCU realized in profits for the period ended December 2021. Read the full story on that. CNOC and UNOC to jointly explore new oil block on Lake Albert. Well, I think we need to take it one step at a time, but yes, it's a good business venture. And read the full story on page 33 of the Daily Monitor. And in sports news, Kampala Queens hold Sharks to keep FWSL title race alive. And this is in the Women's Super League, where because of skipper Nagadia kept her side in. Read the full story on page 38. And talking points as Olympic boxers punch in pro ranks. And one of boxing happened over the weekend on Saturday night, where we saw some of the Olympic boxers coming out and tussling it out for a win. Yes, and lastly, Muhindo heads Villa into quarters, where SC Villa in the Stanbic Uganda Cup, SC Villa beat Onduparaka 1-0 over the weekend. And yes, you need to catch the full story on page 40. And FIFA has been urged to eject Iran, and FIFA faces calls to throw Iran out of the 2022 World Cup finals over renewed ban on women from attending international football matches. Well, FIFA has a hard job, and I agree with it. But grab a copy of the Daily Punch and find out more of these stories and read them in detail and find out what you need to know. We're going to go in for a break, but when I come back, I'll be coming in with the new vision, where I'll be giving you also the stories that are making headlines there. Do not go anywhere.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
As you think about the Lord just taking over your case and you are no longer in the midst of it, and He says, fear not.
Demons from the mountains, scream and leave. In the name of demons from the graves, scream and leave. In the name of Jesus.
With 200 million people aged between 15 and 24, Africa has the youngest population in the world. This can either be an opportunity or a ticking time bomb. At Young and Flourishing Hub, we seek to turn these numbers into an opportunity for Africa to become a global leader. Join us every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. only on Church of Uganda Family TV, as we take you through the discussion of different topics that will enable you to become world-class leaders and mentors, grow your finances, and become world-class innovators. Young and Flourishing, transforming Africa.
Welcome to Coffee Production Tips brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Uganda Coffee Development Authority is the government agency mandated to promote and oversee the coffee industry as a whole by developing research, facilitating coffee production and productivity, by training farmers on good agricultural practices, controlling the quality and improving the marketing of coffee for the benefit of stakeholders, planting coffee seedlings, mulching, training coffee seedlings, and stamping coffee. Farmers are encouraged to adopt good agricultural practices to get high yields, good prices, and better income from coffee. These tips are brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority.
Brethren, yes we can. We can clear the debt of Church House. And I want to invite you to give generously to the love gift. May God bless you as you give.
Water gives life. Water is life. But not all water is created equal. Refresh yourself with the new quality Nirvana packaged drinking water and fuel you and your passion to go further in life. Visit a shop near you and grab a 250 ml at 400 shillings, 500 ml at 500 shillings, 1.5 liters at 1,500 shillings, or a 20-liter jumbo bottle at 18,000 shillings only. Nirvana is a product of Crown Beverage Limited.
24 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. It's a Monday morning, and Brenda Mahoro is not with me today, but with you this morning, and I'm taking you through the morning. I hope you're ready to take on the week. It's a new month, no more excuses. Wake up and make the most of yourself. Now, I have the new vision with me, and students to Miss UNEB over IDs. This is on page 5 of the Daily Monitor, where government deploys system to audit recipients of capitation grants. Read the full story on page 5 of the Daily Monitor. And here there is a top picture in the new vision is the over 120 students he paid fees for Warren. This is Jacob Olanya, where some of the Seroma Christian High School students whose education former Speaker Jacob Olanya has been taking care of lay a wreath on his casket during the service at his home in Muyenga in Kampala. Read the full story on page 6 and 7 of the new vision. Presidential, when we continue on page 3, presidential initiatives on land disputes not effective. That is what the land probe is saying. And the commission, chaired by Court of Appeal Judge Catherine Bamgemerire, was instituted in 2016 by President Yoweri Museveni to inquire into land matters. On July 29, 2020, the commission handed its final report to the president. However, the land probe team says it has not been effective. Read the full story on page 3. Concerning the presidential initiative on land probe. Now, Uganda and 6 countries commit to harness water resources for wealth creation. And there is a minister, Sam, who is speaking during the adoption of the IGAD Blue Economy Strategy in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. And what you need to know about this is that the fisheries sector, for instance, through value addition, can earn the region an estimated $600 million annually and create 500,000 direct jobs if well harnessed. And Uganda is going to join other 6 countries in this particular arena, but read the full story on page 3 of the new vision. And Panga thugs terrorized 3 homes in Kampala. Now, 2 businessmen, Geoffrey Sematimba and Geoffrey Mwebaze, are nursing deep cuts that were inflicted by assailants armed with machetes who raided homes in Kampala over the weekend. Sematimba, who is 33, and Mwebaze, who is 34, all hospitalized, and residents of Namungona, that is a city suburb, are being monitored by security as investigations intensify to identify who these particular copycats are. Well, you need to read the full story on page 4 of the new vision, and also find out how you can keep yourself and your family safe during these particular times. Now, students to miss UNEB over national IDs. And learners whose parents do not have national IDs may not write the national administered UNEB exams. And this is thanks to a system that requires all students across all levels of education to obtain a learner's identification number using their parents' NIN number. Now, over 60,000 ghost pupils were found on the Universal Primary Education Registers countrywide. That is what the Ministry of Education spokesperson Mujimba said. But this particular project is meant to make work easier, but also online, and make things move easier. But read the full story on page 5 of the new vision. Olanya's funeral unites Lango and Acholi sub-regions concerning Olanya's burial arrangements. Olanya's bursary helped over 120 students. And according to what I read was, or according to the plan, was is government going to take over this particular, the people he was giving bursary to, or not? Anyway, we'll find out. But there is a picture here of Semukutu, who gave a speech at Olanya's home, and left his UPC president Jimmy Akenya, who is also part of the Uganda Bikers Association that Olanya was part of. Now, the burial program, in case you're not aware, is between April 3rd and 4th today. Yesterday and today, the body is at his home in Muyenga, Kampala. Tomorrow, Tuesday, April 5th, the body will be taken to Parliament, where it will lie there for tributes, and it will stay overnight. On Wednesday, April the 6th, state funeral will happen in Kololo ceremonial grounds. Wednesday, April the 6th, again also after the state funeral, it will be airlifted to Omoro district, where the burial will happen. And then on Thursday, the body will lie at Lalogi for final respects. Then on Friday, 8th April, it will be a public holiday. That is when the burial will happen. Yes, we'll keep you updated on those burial plans and how they are going later on. Now, Charles Peter Maiga made his tribute also to the late speaker, and he says that Jacob Olanya was an impactful leader. That is what Charles Peter Maiga says, who is the Katikiro of Buganda, also known as Prime Minister of Buganda there. Read the full story on page 7 of the new vision. And Envoy calls for digital tracking of migrant workers to deter abuse. And following repeated cases of abuse of migrant workers in the Middle East and other parts of the world, the Sultanate of Oman has called for digital monitoring to mitigate the situation. Read the full story on page 8 of the new vision. And something else you need to look out for the new vision. In the new vision is Uganda Airlines must be run as a business, and this is what the Works Minister General Katumba Wamala has told and has directed Uganda Airlines new board to run the national carrier as a business. And Uganda Airlines board, after its inauguration at Hotel Africana in Kampala on Friday. Remember, this comes after the mismanagement of Uganda Airlines by the board that later on caused the government to fire the board and appoint a new one. And yes, read the full story on page 11 of the new vision and find out who is on this particular board of Uganda Airlines and how will they do it differently from their predecessors. Well, we wait to find out what that would mean. Now, government has a plan to bring up zonal hubs, and on page 12 of the new vision, zonal hubs in Bunyoro, West Nile, and leaders warned against graft. The director of industrial hubs and presidential projects at State House has warned Bunyoro and West Nile leaders against corruption when enrolling learners for the zonal industrial hubs under the presidential initiative of skilling the boys and the girls. And this is Engineer Raymond Kamugisha, who met leaders from Bunyoro sub-region at the industrial hub premises in Chimengo sub-county, that's in Masindi municipality. Well, we hope that will also help the people that they are able to help there. Now, in Iganga, the Chavazinga tips parents on further education, and this was during the second graduation at the Rubega Institute of Nursing and Medical Sciences in Iganga, where over 270 students received certificates in nursing and midwifery, among others. Well, we thank you, the Chavazinga, for encouraging and tipping parents, particularly on further education. Now, when we read more in the new vision, we'll find a few letters and a few comments, and the issue of Millie Babalanda and the RDCs and getting bribes and whatnot. Well, she responds on page 17 of the new vision, where the new RDCs and RCCs and deputies will deliver. That is what Babilie Millie Babalanda says. Well, who is the Minister of Presidency? Well, we await to see that and much more. Read page 17 of the new vision. When we continue, there is a few adverts of Lira University calling people to go there, but also health and beauty, and what you need to know about your health and beauty, a wellness guide and magazine in the new vision, where expert advises diabetics on fasting and how you need to fast if you're diabetic and whatnot. But much more. There is, of course, the Pakasa, that it's your weekly also magazine in the new vision that helps you push your business to the next level, and how Batesa started welding with 500,000, and find out more on page 27 of the new vision. In business news, Stanbic returns to its UCB roots. And between the lines, what you need to know is over 150 such circles are working with the bank, accessing credit for as low as 10%. The ripple effect from this may estimate affects more than 3 million people between the ages of 14 and 64. Well, read the full story on page 34. And ERA, which is Electricity Regulatory Authority, announces reduction of electricity tariffs. Now, ERA officials said the bulk of the benefits of the power tariff reduction will go to commercial and medium-scale industry customers. Patrick Tutembe, who is the ERA senior economist, announced the 1.44% downward revision of the tariff on Friday. And you read the full story on page 34 of the new vision. And there are many other job opportunities in the New Vision today. Check them out if you can, and read much more of those stories. Now, in sports news, the groups for it's face-to-face really for the upcoming World Cup, where groups for the 2022 World Cup finals in Qatar, following the draw on Friday, have been listed here. And in Group A, for example, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands. Group B, we're still not yet sure, but we have England, Iran, and USA, or depending because of what FIFA is being called to do, particularly pressure to do for Iran to eliminate it. Well, there you go. But to go to Group D that has an African there. If you're a fan of the African countries, we have Tunisia in Group D. In Group F, we have Morocco, that is in Group F with Belgium, Canada, and Croatia, and Ghana will be in Group H with Portugal, Uruguay, and South Korea. Cameroon is in Group G with Brazil, Serbia, and Switzerland. Well, read the full story of this on the last page of the of the New Vision, and find out more of these stories. Now, here we just give you details, but grab a copy of the Daily Monitor and the New Vision and find out much more of these stories in detail. Now, we're going to go in for a very short break, but when we come back, we'll be discussing more on World Autism Day. What don't you know? Do you know anything about autism? What don't you know about autism? Well, we are talking about that today. So do not go anywhere. This is Church of Uganda Family TV.
Let's talk.
Let's talk. Let's Talk is an uncensored program on Family TV that attempts to answer questions that are unanswered within our church settings. Questions like sex and money, drugs and alcoholism, prophecy and prophets in our country. So, catch us at 9 p.m. every Tuesday on Family TV as we explore different topics and make attempts to answer the different life topics. Every Tuesday with me, Emmanuel Odeke. Let's talk.
Vine Entertainment Group presents the 3rd annual Vine Awards. It's about that time of the year when we recognize and celebrate those outstanding Christian achievers. Featuring performances by Flo Rocca from Nigeria, Levixon, Sandra Subi, Bunjoville, D-Rain, Uncle Mark, Rachel Namubiru, Pastor Wilson Bugembe, Martin Seku, Benji Kasule, Ivan TIT, Prophet Karunji, Lyrical Michael, Saint Ronnie, and Moyo Throne Worship. Kampala Serena Hotel is the place to be on Saturday, 7th of May 2022. Tickets are on sale, going for 100,000 VIP, 50,000 general, and 1 million shillings for a table at both Power FM offices and Sparkle's Salon branches. The 3rd annual Vine Awards is powered by Legacy Productions, Randair, Kampala Serena Hotel, Family TV, and Power 104.1 FM. Doors open at 6 p.m.
Entertainment has gone to another level, and that's why you see creativity each day in the art industry. Here we come with a purpose, what will bring you arts and culture, topical discussion, and the soul entertainment. Tune in every Saturday from midday to 1 p.m. here on Church of Uganda Family TV, courtesy of Mercy and Rita, The Purpose, refreshing your mind.
I was a ninja, but the ground was not ripe for being a ninja. 1, it was a day school. 2, there was nobody to provoke you and you fight. Then, but number 3, what I did was to become a DJ around Kampala.
And I said, now I know you want me to get saved, so I am going to get saved, but give me time. Can you imagine telling God, if you ask him for something, can you imagine him telling you, give me time?
Me, wherever I've gone in Chankwanza, I don't go with my wife, but I go with my God.
In the world in which I lived by then, there was no nursery school in our area. We couldn't hear about them.
May the joy of serving others be to us our true reward. Let us love indeed as brothers, as disciples of the Lord.
Okimanyi nti biti oluyimba lw'omuna Uganda ekusitula mu katebe w'otudde.
Hey, 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 Yahweh, Yesu mulungi, teri yamwekana.
Obadde omanyi amawanga ag'enjawulo engeri gye gakikolamu nga gasinza Katonda.
Fire burn them, redemption time is today.
Ye abaffe, obadde omanyi ennyimba eza hymns zatandika zitya n'abaani abaaziyiiya?
Yaza n'omusaayi gwo ogusinga byonna.
Eno ye Home Beats buli wa mukaaga ssaawa 10 paka ssaawa 11 ez'akawungeezi wano ku mayengo ga Church of Uganda Family TV. Nange Billy Brands of Uganda. Home Beats, enjoy your regional gospel music.
Pulogulaamu ensonga tukuletera okumanya biki ebigenda maaso mu ggwanga. Okumanya ebyenjigiriza n'ebyenkulaakulana ekyo nikyo kikulu. Twegatteko wano ku Church of Uganda Family TV buli wa mukaaga essaawa 11 ez'akawungeezi.
Talk of the Town.
Well, the talk of the town today concerns Saturday, that was World Autism Day, and what you need to know about autism, and really, what do you know about autism, really? And today, on Saturday, in conjunction, the Donor Center for Autism here in Uganda, alongside their various partners, showed solidarity to the people with autism, and they met and had a very, very wonderful time at Kati Kati, where they discussed issues of breaking the bias on autism and enlightening people exactly on what autism meant. If you were around Kampala on Saturday, you could have realized very, very lovely t-shirts of World Autism Day by the folks from Donor there. But one of the things you need to know is autism is a disorder, that is characterized by difficulty in social interaction and communication, and by restricted or repetitive patterns of thought and behavior. Now, most people are usually isolated, and most people have some sort of a bias concerning these people, but people with autism find it very hard to understand how other people feel, how other people think, and they find things like they find it hard for things like bright lights, loud noises, really overwhelm them, and they become really stressful and uncomfortable, and they get anxious or upset about unfamiliar situations and social events. They're a bit different from us, but they're not less. They need extra care. Now, music is one of the things that can stimulate cognitive functioning and may be used for remediation of some speech and language skills. And some music has been used to improve the social interaction in children with autism. And according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, 5% of the country's population has autism. 5% of the country's population has autism, and unfortunately most of our health workers do not know how to diagnose it. And some parents have autistic children, but they don't know that they have autistic children. And it begs us to also know that autism has no cure. However, interventions have been put in place to manage some of the symptoms. It's also important for the family to have therapy because autism affects every member of the family. If you have been, if you're in a family with someone with autism, you understand it better. But also for those who have friends and family that have autism and are still a bit biased about them, please let's not segregate them. Remember, things like bright light, loud noises really irritate these people. Now later on in the next hour we'll be having an expert on this to tell us more about autism and what we really need to know about it and how to diagnose it, how to treat it if it's treatable, and how to manage it. And now one of the signs of autism, at least here in page 20 of the Daily Monitor today, tell us a little bit more about autism and what we need to know there. But one of the symptoms of autism is the delay in speech, and if they attempt to speak, the speech may not be contextual, and oftentimes it is a repeated statement copied from another person. And some children become non-verbal, or in their speech it is faulty. Those are some of the things you need to know, but also not for it to be confused by nodding disease. Many people confuse it with nodding disease, but autism is different. Totally different. And I'll have a doctor in later on today to discuss more about autism. But what do you know about autism? Tell me your experience with autism. Do you have any questions about autism? Well, this is your opportunity. Send us a text message or a WhatsApp or on social media. Tag us at COU Family TV on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And I'll surely pass on those particular questions to an expert that is coming on later on in the next hour to discuss more on autism. So do not go anywhere. Send us those text messages on our social media platforms, or you can also later on give us a call on the numbers on your screen, and let's have a conversation on autism and what you need to know about it. We're going for a break, but we'll come back in the next hour with all your questions answered, but also an expert to expound more on this conversation of autism. Do not go anywhere.
Let's talk.
Let's talk. Let's Talk is an uncensored program on Family TV that attempts to answer questions that are unanswered within our church settings. Questions like sex and money, drugs and alcoholism, prophecy and prophets in our country. So, catch us at 9 p.m. every Tuesday on Family TV as we explore different topics and make attempts to answer the different life topics. Every Tuesday with me, Manuel Odeke. Let's talk.